There. There we go. Okay. Okay, so you can't stream. Looking crusty. Oh well. Some days you're just hello, hello. Let's get the party going. Front. Bodies hit this frame. Chat is actually working. Yeah, okay. It's just a little. Okay. There we go. Yeah, it's up. Oh. Buddy boy's dead. Else. Scordio. Guess the bot doesn't like unless it's delayed. Yes, honey? Oh, you leave it? Well, that up. I'll quickly you front, possibly one other. I'll tell you, I was gonna look into Serum 2 today, and it's pretty exciting. So for anyone who's in the music production center frame. So Serum came out probably 10 years ago and was pretty transformative for wavetable synthesis. History lesson. Dubstep starts to become a thing probably around 2005 into 2010. It starts as garage, then it goes into like two-step, dubstep, and then as we started to know is like kind of the aggro, two-step tear out stuff. Massive was a synthesizer that really became popular in those early days, and it was very limited. It had a fixed set of wavetables, it had a fixed set of filters and controls, pretty limited. Steve Duda of the of his own fame, a music producer, friend and collaborator with Deadmau5, and they partner up, and he makes the Serum wavetable synthesizer, which came with a very nice editor, loadable wavetables. You could load samples as wavetables, and then it had a lot of really good blend modes and a decent effect suite. That thing was huge, supernova. And what ends up happening? Oh, don't tell me. I don't have two streams going do I? Let me double check. Because that might screw us up if that's happening. Studio. Be showing me as live now. Okay, it's only the one. Okay, we're good. We're good. One live stream. That double that happened the other day was weird. Anyway. What was I talking about? So Serum was pretty transformative, and it became the de facto drum and bass synthesizer, dubstep synthesizer. Everybody really liked that style of production. Everybody really liked how that kind of came together. And then he kind of went quiet on it. They did their updates for like 5-7 years. I think they were getting updates up until recently, but Now they released Serum 2. Unfortunately, since that time, I switched to Linux, as you're aware. And with that switch, I never really got Serum to work on Linux. Some people have figured it out. There's something to do with how it draws on the screen, the particular modules that they use to draw stuff. Serum 2, unfortunately, is a little glitchy and doesn't really work, so I can't really go over it today. But I am going to just get to work. Work on what? I really should. I should really commit to starting a new idea so I can actually have 2 singles released this year. I looked last year. I only put out 3 songs. A tragically low output. So I need to be putting out stuff probably once a month. 28.5 is done. I'm gonna work on artwork for that in the probably tomorrow, and get that set up with a distributor so we can self-release. And then this I need to finish. So anyway, couldn't tell you why things aren't working here. Eh. All right. So, anywhoosies, what was I saying? But yeah, so we can't do Serum 2 today. Hopefully in the near future, some clever people are going to find out the wine tricks and the wine configs to kind of force it to work. Because it looks really cool. There's a lot of additions to it that make it a bit more modular and a richer feature set, and then some kind of workflow things that the thing is, I made a decision last summer, an expensive decision, but a decision nonetheless, that if I'm going to rely on devices, I can't rely on software because not everybody makes shit for Linux. Steve Duda doesn't really care for it. And yeah, you kind of are stuck. I have 2 notifications. What's going on there? Anyway, I'm seeing like notifications on it possibly notify me on. But yeah. Buying this device was kind of the first step into divorcing myself from VSTs. Because if I was worried that hello Paulart, what's up Simon? All right, we got Grunt. People showing up. Yeah, all right. Squeaky, okay. Let the bodies hit the stream. So to recap what I was telling Runt, Serum 2 just came out. It's got its own history as a synth goes. It's about 10. Serum 1's 10 years old. Pretty much like the de facto dubstep and drum and bass synth that Serum 2 was kind of shadow dropped this week. Ow. And unfortunately, Steve does not really give a shit about Linux people, and he hasn't really made choices in that synth to make it compatible with like wine and wrappers and stuff too. So unfortunately, it's buggy as shit. I'll show you. Load everything up. I'll show you by trying to open it. Apparently, the way that it draws its windows, it refreshes itself in kind of weird. Let's see. Oh. So notice how like the windows have artifacting. It has to do with how it redraws things. And certain windows I can't even open. So like if I try to open the editor, I think I just crash the plugin. It doesn't know what to do. Yeah. So Serum not quite working on Linux yet, unfortunately. But that's okay. A big reason for doing what I did in my production life, switch. Oh, that crashed so bad that I have a thing on my window now. B, enable off, and that just won't go away. Really? Okay, there we go. But yeah, that's why I bought this thing. I wanted to start having hardware things that I didn't have to rely on software being a Linux board. And because I was frustrated with here, I'm gonna mute that quick. Because I was frustrated with Serum not working yesterday, I said, fuck it, I'm gonna try and really dial in a neuro respace preset here. And I think I got something. I'm gonna walk you guys through it because I think it's kind of so start. I call it the initial res. It's really just so that I have something. Oscillator 1 is a sawtooth that is being passed through an oscillator sink. It's basically forcing it to be detuned slightly in the by about 0.31 or 0.031, and then I'm blending that 50%. So I'm actually, let me solo this. Turn off effects. Go effects list. I actually had some nice effects. Sub. Crank it up so we can. So, more effects. Camera. So what you get when you have this effect, it starts to blend another signal in, but it's not really unison. It's messing up the actual waveform. So that gets us that nice detune, right? I have nothing on the endpoint there. The second oscillator is using what they call wave stack. Wave stack is the really cheap and dirty unison that they apply to that they're applying to the oscillator. It's lacking a lot of controls for what I like. But for the purposes of what I need, this is giving a really wide sound. So we have oscillator 2 is just that. So flat, kind of giving that width, that grit, everything else. And then the two of those together give you grit. Pretty good starting point for a Reese. I also have a slight EQing in the device just to give it a little bit of edge without coloring the sound too much, but I can go crazy. What I like about a starting point with that is I start processing it really heavily in the DAW with some multi-band compression, or really expansion, upwards compression. I could start coloring it with wave shaping, distortion. It's a good starting point. And I can introduce things to it that give it a lot of color and depth, like adding noise. So instead of listening to the raw output of oscillator 1, I'm instead going to play the ring modulator and feed noise into the ring modulator. So noise. Now it's got even extra gritty dirt. And I could switch the noise type. I like their violet flavor that they got in there. Crispy. Maybe blue. So, yeah. So what is the point of having this? It's kind of just the de facto starting point. Got sawtooth, respace, lots of width, lots of depth, and it can be sculpted and shaped. But you can start having a lot of fun in here because I can start selecting different oscillators. Now I've got that noisy sawtooth. Add some harmonic information. Add some there. This makes me jealous because I lack any hardware. It seems your dog work. So it's a catch-22. In some ways, it's really fun to work with. Obviously, having something physical I can touch, and this synth in particular has had some really deliberate choices on how it's organized. I think they really were smart about how most of this is put. So it's really fun to use and touch and play. The problem is that once you're off board on hardware, first off, this is expensive, needlessly so. You end up spending $700 on a computer with a VST. So cost basis isn't that great for something that is very purpose built for one piece of software. The second part is it has its own limitations that you can't expand upon. I got 3 oscillators. Faceplant has infinite. So you can kind of really expand yourself in different ways in the computer. The other problem, and these are twofold that I learned. Problem number 1 is that recording on any piece of kit, and I've got a Focusrite card right now, and it's fine, but recording introduces noise that digital stuff doesn't have. You have a near infinite noise floor with a digital synthesizer. So stuff like upwards expansion or upwards compression sounds awesome because you're not introducing a lot of noise from the noise floor. This is an actual circuit that is going onto cables going into a pickup. So there's just signal noise. That's how these things work. And that introduces new problems in the recording process. That's the other problem, is that there's a whole recording process. In the digital world, you can have every single synth, every single plugin sitting inert, and you don't have to flatten anything. In theory, you could have all of the, what's that called? In the industrial scene, they call it noise style. Yeah, I know. I'm aware. They love their game. But anyway, you have to bounce what you're working on in hardware to disk or it's gone. And yeah, I could save presets in here and save everything that I'm doing, but that becomes difficult when I only have one device. I can open up 20 serums. They're infinitely duplicatable. I have one of these. So to do a sound and then another sound, I either have to buy more of these, which I'm not going to do, would do that, or I got to bounce stuff down to disk. Once you've bounced something down, messed up, it's messed up forever. So you have to treat your stuff really carefully at the early stages. You have to record well, and you have to be like, I sure hope I like this later. So it's pretty nice. MIDI keyboards and controllers for the win. IG them up to dawn, just go crazy. Absolutely. And there are a ton of options there that are really nice. And a ton that are not so nice, but they're cheap. So, that where you OMP, what's up? Is it serum time? No. It's glitchy. Linux time. They have defeated me this day. The windows, the redrawing of the windows within the plugin just aren't working yet. And people cleverer than myself with Linux and Wine are working to figure out if there's a workaround to make. They eventually got Serum 1 to look good and actually be usable. But yeah, no, not today. I was hopeful. I was excited. I wanted to be playing with the Spectral synthesizer. Really? Okay, sidebar. The thing I wanted to do, Serum 2 added new wavetable, new oscillator types. So you have the wavetable, you have a couple samplers, a multi-sample, and a regular sampler. Oh, bird. And then you have I think there was a fourth one. The one I was interested in was the Spectral oscillator. And it seems like you've got something more akin to Harmor built into Serum. I wanted to basically do a wavetable, probably just a basic fart that out to a wave, then take that back into Spectral and start twisting it up using Spectral tools. I think those are the next frontier in audio effects and audio generation. So synthesizers and stuff. So much awesome stuff. But yeah, it looks like a great upgrade to what they've. The foundational Serum was such a great plugin that everyone kind of borrowed from it to build on other stuff. You could even argue, I'll bet the designers of this thing in particular definitely looked at stuff like Serum to be like, hey, what does a wavetable synth need to have? Because I mean, I've got two oscillators and I've got a third oscillator that's direct to the bus. So it's like, it kind of feels like they looked at Serum 1 and said, it's probably the way to do it on a budget. But yeah, no Serum 2 today. Hopefully soon, because I've been a little tired of the workflow in Phase Plant. So I'm looking forward to hopping back into like the Serum environment, because the way that they handle bouncing things back to wavetables is really nice. As much as I think wavetable editing is completely unintuitive and nobody has made some real strides in making that easy, Serum's is at least comprehensive. So like I can suck at it, but I can find the tools I need within there to make something happen to what I'm working on. Oh, that's my raid party there. So, what's your opinion of Vital, though? Vital was great until he stopped working on it. Full stop. Tidal made a great freemium application, right? Borrowed and built a whole Serum clone. You can argue that it's not. It is. With some slight differences. And it was great. But it was closed source. And for a freemium product, he wasn't really selling anything of value. And then he stopped updating it October of 23. So for guys like me, who was looking for an alternative to Serum that would work natively on Linux, it was broken. So you can't get in there to fix it because it's not open source and your developer disappeared. Which is a shame. And now Serum 2 came out. You're done. People will be like, well, Vital's free. And it's like, yeah, Vital's free based on a 10-year-old program. The new hotness is $180. Still probably a little overpriced, but yeah. Now, I'm curious. Maybe one day, here's my compromise. Either Steve Duda and company over at Xfer decide, hey, Linux is actually cool. We will make a binary just for you, Dad. We'll do it for you because you asked so nicely. That would be great. or patch the plugin to work better under Wine. That would be great too. Melda did it. Melda did it at least one time, and that's a big ass plugin suite. So if they could figure it out, I bet you can too. In lieu of that, if they announced that they're making the hardware Serum 2 and it's just like a big iPad with some knobs on it and it just runs Serum in like a little mini computer, I'm buying it. I'm buying it. That would be the last hardware thing I would probably ever want. Spec suite, 3 oscillators. I could make whatever the hell I need. And then it's all offboarded, so I have it on a nice little package. I can take it with me on the road. Actually, really what it would be is I'd take it with me to my friends' houses, so they'd be like, Kevin, you know we have Serum 2 at home. I'm like, yeah, but I brought mine. It's in a box. At least you could have done is make it open source before dipping. Probably why I don't want to switch to Linux for all that. Yeah, that's a negative. Is in the Linux world is the fact that there's very limited support in a lot of stuff. Bitwig is built for Linux, so their Linux distribution, while it's exclusive, it's supported officially on Ubuntu and under a certain package type. It's generally supported everywhere else. So it's like as an application, it works. And certain plugins have support. Like Melda. Melda does not officially release Linux distributions, but they have patched their plugins to work under Wine without issue. And they've been stable. Faceplant happens to work under Wine, and it works well. I don't really have any issues there. Serum did not. Original Serum had issues, and you have to do some tricks to make that work. And Serum 2 is new with new issues. So people are going to have to figure out how to maybe get that to work, right? But yeah, support on Linux is always a challenge. And if I wasn't such a stubborn dickhead, I'd still be on Windows, and I'd still be probably using Ableton. But I got frustrated with Ableton. They didn't stop updating, but Ableton's philosophy changed in like 5-6 years, where they just stopped being interesting and their workflow choices weren't all that great. Bitwig is under active development. Bitwig's pricing model makes a lot more sense to me too. I pay an annual like 150, maybe 200, 150 for like big version upgrades, which means they're always working on version upgrades, and then they're patching crap like the Linux problems that I might run into, other people run into. It's under active development. I'm giving money. I'm getting services back. Bitwig at home, Bitwig hardware. Bitwig is coming out with hardware, although it's pretty mundane. It's an audio card, which I am going to pick up for. Oh, I'm going to circle back. I think Paul, you were asking about it. What is another negative of hardware? And this is something we discovered when I started playing with this, but it's like I should have intuited. Not all devices are great with their MIDI control. A MIDI, particularly MIDI 1.0, can only send stepped information from like 1 to 127. There might be 0 to 120, but 128 steps. So it's 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. All the way up to 100 or 128. The problem is when you're doing stuff slowly, you don't really notice those steps. They kind of blend together. But if you crank it really fast, it's going to go, it's going to hit like these random steps and chop through, and you're going to miss a lot of that information. And when I'm trying to do like crazy dubsteppy shit with filter movement and motion or wavetables changing, and I'm trying to send something from the computer to this, it sounds awful because it's choppy. It skips a bunch of steps. Hey, it's the B. The OO. But yeah, so that limitation means that a lot of synths that are MIDI 1.0 are going to have that really choppy quality if you're trying to do really tight controls. Now, mercifully, and this is a reason I'm buying that Bitwig controller because it has CV out. This takes CV, control voltage. Control voltage gives me much better granular control over a parameter, so I can do those fast things without the stepping. But that would be another thing. So I spend $700 to have a device that has noise, because recording introduces noise. I have to address the fact that I can't control things from my computer super cleanly to this without another piece of hardware, which is like $550. It's an entry level one, and it's still not cheap. So $1,200 just to almost have Serum in a box, because it's not Serum. It's got its own proclivities and its own limitations. I like it a lot, but it is what it is. So I would never tell people to buy hardware unless you're a stubborn prick who absolutely refuses to give Microsoft more money at the end of 2025 when Windows 10 goes under. Then I guess you're welcome to the boat of stubborn dickheads, because that's all you would ever do. For everybody else, get the Kilohertz subscription and buy Faceplant with the whole suite of plugins, or buy Serum 2, or download the free version of Vital that hopefully works in 5 weeks. Where did we leave? Oh yeah, we were playing. Back. I promise. Oh, I heard something. Sorry about that. Throw a gate on here so I have to hear the noise. I'd probably flick that actually. Punchy intro. So far, no mic bleed. Testing 1, 2. All right, I fixed that shit. Let's go. I need to find a group that just like... This is the one thing that's been killing me. I've had a lot of false starts because I cannot come up with how this track is going to start. there. Why, buddy? Why? I gave you enough nutrients earlier. I guess I did give it enough. It's a good groove. It's driving forward. It lands on the hats okay. It's pretty much in the pocket, actually. Yeah, I like the hats. The hats are nice. It's just that nice little eighth. Just all right. So that's kind of groovy. It may be a little repetitive, so we need a nice call and response. Dear Bitwig, give me a duplicate time. I have to select time, then duplicate. I want to do that all in one. Put in meow synth. I honestly I can't remember where I made that in phase plant, I'm pretty sure, and I have no idea what I did to make that weird cat noise that got upset. Or they hated me. One sec. Didn't take a sec from it. I'll check on chat. Go proper. Why is most music production closed source expensive? It's mostly because development is expensive. I think the hard part is there's a lot of companies out there that make very similar things. And as a consumer, some stuff is worth the extra money. Some stuff very much not worth it. 90% of mixing and mastering crap. And they're trying to sell you the magic button that makes mixing easy. Not mastering. It's the God particle comes to mind. And you'll have some professionals who use it, but like it boils down to what is it exactly? Probably some saturation, probably some exciters, and like some light EQ. It's all stuff that like you already have. It just does something better. Okay. But yeah, most crap is like priced okay, but is all mostly the same, so why bother spending? To that point, I'll tell you some products I think, and I've no sponsorships yet. I haven't been solicited for that. I'll tell you some companies that make stuff that generally are worth the money. FabFilter's the first one. I think their plugins are expensive, but they're not like Waves. So Waves used to be a company that was notoriously expensive, but their products were really... I think they got acquired at some point. They're not good anymore. Their pricing model sucks. Their products suck. Don't spend the money. The people that are stuck using them are the ones that have built it into their Pro Tools workflow, and they work at some studio somewhere, and they have to just crank crap out. So FabFilter, I'd say, is one of the better ones. They only have a handful of plugins. Every single one of them is outstanding. ProQ, it's a great equalizer. It has a lot of features that make it easy to use, and has a depth of features that make it really useful for mixing. Pro L, great limiter. They have a handful of algorithms. All sound generally pretty good. I wish they had something of a clean algorithm, but that's not really how that would work. That limiter works well. Their compressor, multi-band compressor. Saturn's okay. Saturn's their distortion and amp sim, it's fine. It is not good for like super aggressive design choices. It's more for like subtle stuff. Cable guys are supposed to be really good. I know I don't use them because I have Bitwig, and Bitwig lets me build some of those kinds of tools. Because their toolkit is a VST that takes input that then does something with it. If I didn't have Bitwig, I probably would be using the Cable guys shaper pot. People glaze it for good reason. It's because people really wanted to have tighter controls over side chaining and dynamics control with transient. So when you're trying to have such like really punchy killer drums, you have to duck everything out of the mix as best as you can. But traditional compressors didn't really have tight enough controls to let you keep the transient, but also keep the body and weight of the sounds. It had ducking. It had traditional ducking. Used it forever for house music because pumping was kind of part of it. Move on. Doesn't work for other genres like dubstep and other. Some people still do it, but most switch to like a shaper tool that lets you be. It also has just other features. There's other effects in that bundle, and in a package that makes a lot of sense to like package that all together as an effects in the box. Yeah, they're a good one. Isotope used to be good. They make a great set of products, but they also got acquired. I think they merged with Native Instruments. Also another one that I would probably avoid for a while. And NI stopped innovating a while ago, and they're costly for like okay quality. Isotope used to have really cool plugins. They failed miserably at optimizing any of them. And I mean, you saw Trash 2, whatever it was. Was it Trash 2? No, it was Trash 3. So with the new version of Trash, the one replacing Trash 2. Absolute dumpster fire. They removed features and they made it worse. Avoid. They're not going to be worth your money. In fact, they lost half of my licenses when I went to go recover Trash 2 to go make like a change to an old song. So I'm like, okay, that company. Melda's a good one. Melda has a free plugin suite. So their plugin suite is really comprehensive, really lean. It runs pretty without a whole lot of resource overhead on your machine. Their free suite comes with like all the standard stuff, and then there's like a couple paid ones. There's a whole paid like master suite, kind of expensive, but it's very well supported. And I like Bitwig. Currently, they have only had one like business faux pas that really pissed off the community, but they reversed course and they not looked back. They were going to try and like bundle up different services within tiers within their subscription model. Oh, and Kilohearts Suite in particular. Phase Plant plus Snap Heap plus Multipat plus all of their effects. Those are generally pretty lean plugins that kind of have to be so they can stack really well in a synthesizer. They're actively working on it all the time. They're adding stuff all the time. I find myself, again, because I've moved to Bitwig, I find myself using them less. But that's because in Ableton, Phase Plant let me do things that I couldn't do anywhere else. I'm like, oh, I could route all this crap together. Then you had internal LFOs and envelopes that you could then route together, make it work good. Yeah, more effects. And Valhalla. So Valhalla DSP makes like 4 or 5 plugins. Valhalla Ubermod is an excellent reverb plugin, or reverb and delay. I used it. They have Supermassive, which is free, and they are super cheap. That company, I think it's one guy, honestly. I'm probably missing a bunch of others. I think there's some pretty quality plugins made by like a handful of people spread out across the multiverse, right? There's just a handful of developers that make like one small thing and they make it really good. A picture. shopping. Oh. Built me a blanket. Anyway, so yeah, keep it. Those are you find them once in a while, and they're going to be something really cool for you. Um, but yeah, those would be the companies that I kind of eyeball that I like quite a bit. I just avoid native instruments and isotope both. Oh well, this okay. So this isn't a good product because their pricing model kind of sucks. Hello, totally normal normality. So East West, I used to use their sampler because I paid for their subscription, and sampler was super cool because they have recorded massive suites of stuff. They had orchestras, they had singers, they had live musician players, and for things that are more organic, without me having to go hire a session musician, was incredible. And then you guys spent $30 a month for like 5 years using stuff. Great. They use iLock, so I can't use them on Linux, so I'm not going to. Like I cancel my, which is why I haven't done a whole lot of like orchestral cinematic stuff because it's just not in there. I don't know what any of these companies that sell samples, I'm not sure how their future is going to look because besides spectral tools being the next frontier for sound design and music production, AI tools with AI models based on acoustic instruments are going to be a really big thing probably in 5 years. So now instead of a sampler that plays a saxophone sample set, it's going to be a model that plays a saxophone kind of like a person would make it sound. And it'll probably sound a little synthetic, but like not enough for you to notice for like a lot of reasons. I think that's going to be a big changer for companies. And if you're a sample seller, you're doomed. Like you're going to get bombed out by a model that the orchestra model, which has every single instrument modeled from each person in the pit, and you can perform on each one of them individually or MIDI control. Then what's the point of your $10,000 recording library that you have? So we got Tube, Simon, Jake Hill, Paul Art. Yeah, people are coming out today. Yeah, anything else that comes to mind? That's where I would put my money. So if I was a broke teenager and I was saving for things, those would be the companies that would be like, I buy it once and have it for life. Everything else that I just want to try, I probably would be a little less scrupulous about how I got it because a lot of companies overcharge for stuff that's kind of just crappy. It might be fun to try, but like you'll never use it. So anyway, it is Mod Central. The mods have shown up in force. All right, let's give me a sec because I've talked too much and I got to pee. So I will be right back. Okay. Let's go back to desktop. Get back to go for a bar. I needs a
That's like. This is working. This is working. All right, we got. This needs something a little. This needs to come in hot. So you got that like. Gotta bounce. It's gotta come in nice. Probably go with one of their weird. I'm just gonna crank the brights on just to give it some. I really like that weird sound. So okay, I'm gonna circle back because we were all just here doing this together. So 15 minutes in here to interface with a couple pieces of this kit, make the sound that I wanted it to make, right? The respace, and I did this off camera because I was trying to get like a solid foundation. Phase plant, I was able to just kind of throw a couple oscillators on there, do a couple little FM tweaks, and most importantly, connect those things to modulation sources. This, I cannot do that very easily because the envelope controls are they're good, but they take a little bit of time to put them together. And to control it directly from the DAW, I cannot do until I get an interface that lets me do control voltage, which is coming, pending my bank account, because I have to pay Matt probably a decent amount of money for the animation work he's doing. I think I've mentioned Slime Dude's getting a revamp, so he's making an animation clip for us for fun. I'm paying him, but it's still also for fun. And then I need to pay him for that. Whatever I have left in the reserves, which will be enough, I'll be able to upgrade the interface. Because then I can directly control parameters in here to do things similar to that, but in here. I'd like to be doing that. Slap the DAW. You can cram so many dubsteps in this thing. But yeah. So, anywho. So, just circling back to Paul Art's kind of, or it might not have been you, but whoever was asking about hardware versus software, it's like faceplant, 30 seconds. I mean, you saw me do it. I did 2 oscillators, filtering through a wavetable. Like, it was pretty simple. And the controls to make it sound the way I wanted to was like super fast. And faceplant is a third of the cost of this thing. I think the total Kiloheart suite is like $400, right? Maybe 300. That comes with all the plugins, all the presets, all that crap. Yeah. Anyway, well, you see, digital doesn't have the soul, but hardware does. Back to modular. Okay. I have a gripe with modular synthesis. Not that I think that modular synthesis is. I think it's really cool. Why is it that every song made with modular sounds the same? Guys, you literally spend $5,000 on a rack, and all you can do is like Kraftwerk knockoff ARPs. That's it. That's what they all devolve into. And it blows because you're literally routing crazy shit together in this generative soundscape, and the best you can do is like bleep blorp blap. No rhyme or reason, no planning. And then you're not even doing sound design. You can get the craziest, an oscillator module, another oscillator module, another one. Yeah, sure, now you're bankrupt and you sold your left foot, but you could do it. And none of them do. They make the same 5 bleepy blurpy ARP things. And they're proud of it. They got the giant fucking wall, and they're so proud of their toy. And then they make the same bleep blorps. Even Deadmau5 is guilty of that shit. He's got like more money than God. And he has the stupid studio at home. And he even, like, you'll check in on a stream and he's fucking with the modular. And it's like, are they just incapable of making the sounds you want, or are people just not getting the right modules? I must understand this. Anyway, it's annoying because I feel like that has such a modular synths are like what faceplant is, but like in real life. That's what the patch cable shit is all about with control voltage and everything. That's super cool. Why is it all minimal techno? Like, I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't. Anyway. That's been my holdup, actually, is I was interested in maybe building a modular synth instead of buying this, but it's like, it's a money pit. I'm like looking at it. There's something missing here that they're not doing. I think the other thing too, and that's actually another part, is there's not a lot of, at least as far as I could tell, there wasn't a ton of digital options where, like, I use wavetable. I love the idea of shaping a waveform as it's in motion. It's how I got my favorite sounds to be generated. There's only, like, wavetable modules are $400. I'm like, cool. 2/3 of this is already, or half of this is already in one module. And can't justify it. Rare to see originality these days. It's not an originality thing, because I think it's exploring, like, they are exploring a creative part of themselves, and I respect, love that for them. It's like you have access to, you have the whole Lego factory, and then instead of like making something fun with it, you just go rebuild the Death Star for the 1000th. You're like, but you had the whole Lego factory. You could could have done something. No, it's just, no, I'm gonna make this. Okay, well. And that's coming from me. That's coming from, I make drum and bass, and it's another Reese bass. It's another dubstep bass. Like, I'm a creature of habit too. It just feels like sonically they're not doing like, they're not digging into the guts of it. Hey, it's the Goofy. We got Commander W. Everything turned into rhythm. That is true. Why I don't really do dubstep much anymore. Dubstep just kind of became two flavors of rhythm. And you got the kind of jump up beat tear out stuff, which I liked. That all started to sound the same. And now you've got that kind of like frog step. I'm sleepy time dubstep is what I honestly love. Old school electronic stuff. I wouldn't mind more stuff like the 90s, KM, FDM, and but like use Simple Sense for that really effort. Yeah, I think that's true. Actually, I would absolutely love to see a resurgence of things like, I hate to be like the old man yells at cloud, but 90s had a lot of really fun stuff going on because people were limited with their tools. They were doing creative stuff with sampling. They were really careful about how they put songs together. Not to say that people don't do that now. They just kind of coalesce sometimes into the same thing. It's hard to say. But anywho. Let's get back. I think this little wobbly thing, well, we just need that drop sound to be like, let's get back to it. Well, it should be. All right. That is so. That. I hate. So I know that I record with decent timing, and I don't know if this is a Bitwig on Linux thing or a Bitwig thing in general. I do not have consistent recording timings compared to what I hit on record. It does not compensate properly. So, like, the first note is compensated, the other ones are not. Definitely gonna fly. I'm gonna have to bounce that because I think that works. That's done. Ooh, it's got this nice hum, clean. Sometimes Bitwig. Your Bitwig. Make that easier. Where? Uh, Quadruple. Come on now. It's a little off key. That won't work. It's also peaking right at. I don't think I want that there because it's just this nice little sine note that it's gonna poke through the mix pretty bad. Second drop. Find another. Uh, I like that. That's just like, yeah, it's really grumpy. All right, let's bounce. Bounce, 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 bounce. You That's pretty decent. Digging this.
So,
Okay, make sure it was you. All right, I am digging that. That's a pretty good start. Still some stuff to figure out, probably some different synth ideas to work with. But that wobbly, just like wop, 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 that's working for me. I think I could build a track around that in a couple weeks. Wish I had this inspiration 2 weeks ago, but you know, what can. So, yeah, I'd say that was pretty good. And I'd say pretty sizable stream today. We make it the full 2 hours, first time in a while. Well, I did waste like 30 minutes talking about random crap. Okay. Oh yeah, Locknar, you got any plugin or dev recommendations for ambient? Honestly, so for atmosphere and ambient, I mean, funny enough, I think that Serum 2, Spectral, and Granular are both great choices. So Faceplant or Serum both are going to be really good texture because you're really just overloading sample-based stuff or Granular, which is like kind of like micro sample stuff, or that Spectral, which is supposed to really have some really nice smearing qualities. One of the areas I have the least proficiency in, it's mostly because it boils down to like me making a couple pads with saws, and it's like, okay, everyone's done that. I have to be a little creative filling in the back stuff. So yeah, I think this is a good start. I'm gonna probably tinker with this next week, hopefully get some ideas fleshed out. Next Thursday, I think we make it a Lego stream. It's been enough. Is Fruity Granulizer enough for Granular synth? Probably. Granular is not that complicated. It's a sampler that's just moving the playhead a lot and picking a lot of different sample, like micro sample points and smearing them together. I think any granular synth is granular. Well, there. And then that's just for your generator. For the rest, it's chorus, all the basic effects. Chorus, reverb, delay, compress, flatten, put it through more reverb, flatten, put it through more reverb, kind of keep on. No, this was a good stream. Last week sucked. This week, much better. Any other to-dos or things? No. All the pitches for 2085 were a bust. I didn't hear back from anybody. I got 1 no and 3 no calls. So I'm going to figure out how to self-release that soon so I get something out. I'm probably going to have to harass Matt about helping with artwork or just using the old slime dude one last time. Which I probably... No, I want to use the new. We put all this effort in. So I'm going to have to muscle through that artwork this weekend. Next week, we'll do Legos. I want to just kind of... I've had a couple crappy weeks of production. I had a good night tonight. I don't need to keep the momentum going. I can work on my own time and get some ideas, use some ghost... use some reference tracks to kind of get a flow that I want figured out and then build on that. So we'll do Legos next week. We'll finish up. Probably won't finish the tower, but we'll get further. And then if I can get this thing done in 2 weeks, we're back to next tapes. I'll probably do Deputized, take a break, and get that going. But yeah, thank you all for coming, as always. And once again, I mentioned it last week. Thanks again for those who bought the limited edition shirts. I have a handful of thank yous left. I'm going to go just finish now because I got to send those out. We'll probably do a design during the summer. I think we had some activity. So thanks to all that have done that. Thanks to everybody who's participating in the Discord. It's been a lot of fun hanging out and chit-chatting with people. I think we'll try to find a community event to do, like a game night or something. We'll figure it out. But anyway, thank you all for coming. I will see